Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Freebeat, and this is Sample Something.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Excited?
Mm-hmm.
You're doubling down on Sun River merch today, aren't you?
That's the comfiest.
There you go.
Ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, here we go. Right now I'm standing at the Brothers Oasis rest stop in Eastern Oregon, just outside, I think it's just outside of the Wilderness Badlands of Oregon, I think is what it was called, a part of the state I've never been to. My girlfriend and I left home this morning on an over 3,000 mile road trip across 7 states? 7 states on what is the longest vacation either of us have ever taken in our entire lives. Now, this show has been a long time in the making, and there have been quite a few hurdles to jump over to get to this point. But I'm not even gonna let the very faint possibility of a pulled tooth get it. Excuse me. Hello? Oh. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Bye. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm not gonna let the very real possibility of a pulled tooth get in the... Hello? Today? Oh, right now. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye. Anyway, like I was saying, I'm not even gonna let this pulled tooth keep me from bringing you all this show. Here's how it's gonna work. Now, I didn't want this to just be a vacation. I wanted to take advantage of the trip. So I came up with the idea for Sample Something, the show you're watching right now. The idea is, since we're gonna be traveling all over the place, there's gonna be tons of unique sounds to find. I figured we could record those sounds and then turn them into music. As you can probably tell by the title of this video, you are watching Season 1, Episode 1. So the show's gonna be broken into different seasons. Each season is going to have a theme, kind of, a light theme maybe, and it is going to revolve around one particular piece of gear. Now, this first season is a little interesting because the theme is just the road trip. We're going to be going from Oregon to Idaho, to Utah, to New Mexico, to Arizona, and to California. And the piece of gear I'm going to be using to make the song is the Sonicware SmplTrek. Now, if you're not familiar with the SmplTrek, let me give you a brief overview. It's a portable, sample-based groove box with the ability to turn samples into one-shot tracks, drum kit tracks, polyphonic instrument tracks. It also has looper tracks, the ability to sequence external gear via MIDI tracks, and it even has 3 audio tracks, which are longer tracks of audio that play across a linear timeline, sort of like in your DAW. Speaking of DAWs, when you're done working on the SmplTrek, you can actually export your song into individual stems to import and finish in something like a DAW. It's very handy. I'd also like to say that Sonicware did send me this SmplTrek specifically for this show. However, they are not a sponsor of this show. Also, unfortunately, Sonicware was unable to get this SmplTrek into my hands before we left on our vacation. But don't worry, even though I don't have the SmplTrek with me right now, I probably wasn't going to use it to record the samples anyway because it's not very easy to be discreet with it. I think it's a little big. However, a cell phone is not. So myself and Lady Freebeat on the camera right now both have Koala Sampler on our phones, and that's how we're going to be acquiring the samples for this trip. So let's go ahead and get sample number 1 right now. If we look down, there's this lovely rock right here. Look, there's a piece right here. I've got Koala Sampler open. Let's get this sample. All right, time to hit the road. Now, since this is the very first sample of the show, let's actually go in and show the normalizing process. At least for this one, I probably won't show it for every sample. Just assume that every sample is going to be normalized before we start working with it on here. But yeah, let's do the first one. Function and pool. We're going to go sample, and I have just loaded up the sample. I'm going to go now down to normalize and execute. Now I'm going to load it into a one-shot track on track 1. Let's have a listen. All right, sounds good. I'm going to dial in the start point here real quick, though. There we go. Then I'm going to bring in the end of it as well. So the first thing that this sample brings to mind to me is a very percussive, like shaker type sound, maybe like a hi-hat, something in between there. I'm not sure if I like that little tail bit at the end there, so I'm going to zoom in, and we're going to bring that end point all the way down. Maybe like right there. Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and sequence this now. So I'm just going to go all 16ths, and I'm going to treat it like a shaker. Okay, for now that tempo's okay, just standard 120. However, the dynamics of this pattern are not. I want to accent the downbeat of each step. So let's go ahead and automate our velocity here. I'm going to leave each of the downbeats, so 1, 2, 3, and 4, nice and high. There we go, let's have a listen now. Yeah, that's cool. Obviously, with just this one sound here, I'm not exactly sure where I want the song to go, what kind of direction I want this song to start taking shape in. So I think just giving ourselves a basic pattern like that is a good way to start. Now we can also go into our mixer and bring up the send effect for our instrument track here, which in this case is reverb. And we can go into the reverb and bring down the mix a bit there. That was a bit hot, I think. Okay, let's go into our clip now and have a listen. Yeah, cool. Let's also really quick double the length of this pattern up to 32 steps. And let's go into the second half of that pattern and add a different rhythm here. But I think I want to live play this, so I'm going to turn my click back on, go into the pattern here. Gonna play with these velocities here a bit though. All right. We were stopped at a rest area. So you can see down there, found this little trail that I don't think it actually goes anywhere. It's crazy. This is not far from where we live. Not terribly far. And we've never been out here. Like this is, I don't know, 4 or 5 hour drive. Yeah?
Yeah, with stops.
With stops. And it's just gorgeous. Just beautiful. This is kind of what I wanted this show to be about too, is getting out and going to new places. And granted, there's not like any incredible sounds out here or anything like that. But what's that pipe? Can we sample something with that pipe? I just saw that. Yeah. Here, you can take the camera, and I'm gonna film or record a sound here. Oh, that was very underwhelming. There we go. There we go. Yeah, cool. Got another sound. You want to go try to do some car sounds here?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right, since we are on a road trip and we're collecting samples, we got to get some samples of the car. All right, we got it. We got the car door. Let's get ourselves a nice clicky seatbelt here. Oh, I guess I should actually sample it. Here we go. Oh. Let's delete that. Oh, you like that one. All right, with these 4 samples, I think we may have enough to throw together a basic beat. So I think we're gonna send it back to the studio, see what we can come up with. We're gonna hit the road though, see you at the next stop. Okay, so now we've added 3 more samples to our available sounds, and I think I want to fill those out as additional one-shot tracks. Now, what I could do is actually go in on the SmplTrek and make it all one drum kit. However, I think because those are the only sounds we have right now, I'm just going to do them each as one-shots, and then we can come up with some patterns we like, and then maybe recreate those in a drum kit once we get more sounds and we have to kind of compress everything together, okay? So we've got our 4 sounds. We've got the rock, we've got the pipe, we've got the car door, and we've got the seatbelt. I'm not quite sure what to do with the pipe. Let's go in there and maybe pitch it down. Let's see if we can do that. Maybe not. My guess is we will probably wind up coming back to the pipe. Let's take a listen at what we can do with the car door, though, because I think that could become a pretty cool kick drum. So, oh yeah. Even just like that, that sounds pretty good just as is. I'm going to go ahead, turn it up a bit in the mixer, and I'm going to go into the position setting, zoom in, and trim off that little clicky noise at the end. Yeah, cool. Let's go into our effects now and maybe use an insert effect to bump this up a bit here. What's it sound like through one of these amps? Huh, that's fun. Yeah, I kind of like how that sounds. These 2 sounds are very similar. The seatbelt, but the seatbelt has that extra little kind of like to it that at the right tempo kind of sounds like 8th notes. That's pretty cool. I'm going to tap tempo that in. So that's 142.8. There we go, 142 BPM. I kind of like that. Yeah, let's go into track 4 and just put this on our downbeats. Yeah, you know, we can kind of shape the sound later, but I'd at least like to figure out some kind of rhythm, something we can use to, you know, allow our track to start taking shape. I kind of like the idea of grabbing the tempo from that, though. That's super fun. What if we do something like this? Now, I just erased those 16ths that we put in there the first time we used this kind of rock shaker sound, and I set the note value to 8th instead of 16th, so we can sequence it all in one bar. So, bop, 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 bop. Let's have a listen to both of these running together now. Yeah, I think we're getting somewhere. Keep in mind, at the end of the day, all of this is going to be exported into my DAW, into Ableton, so we will be able to super fine-tune things. This is all about coming up with an arrangement that makes sense, and patterns and rhythms that make sense. I bumped up the tempo to 149. Let's turn on the click and see how this sounds. Yeah, I like that quite a bit. Let's go ahead and try to put something in our kick drum here. I don't really like that kick pattern at all, actually. So let's change that up. I'm gonna live record it. Tell you what, I'm gonna go into a new track and pull up a stock drum kit and finger drum it along in the background here, and that's what's gonna carry us into the next segment of the show. I didn't notice that sharp. Alrighty, we have reached our final destination for the day, our hotel in Boise, Idaho. What'd you think of the drive?
It was beautiful.
Yeah, parts of Oregon that, well, you've never seen, parts of Oregon that I have not seen since I was like a very young child. So yeah, it was awesome. We did take quite a bit of driving footage. I'm not sure if you've seen it at this point in the video because I don't know how I'm gonna edit it yet. You know, we're just on day one of the trip, but it was amazing. It was a lot of fun, and I'm hoping that you're enjoying kind of the overall concept of this show. So far, we've only gotten 4 samples today. However, this is actually our most boring day travel-wise. We were basically just going from point A to point B, and you know, we stopped at these rest stops and just kind of had to make the samples up as we went. Finding that cool sounding rock and that pipe were just kind of lucky. You know, then we got the car samples, and we are going to get one more sample today, but trust me when I say it's just going to get better from here. For episode 2, we've got some awesome stops planned, some places we've never been before, and I'm sure we're going to be able to find quite a few sounds. It's going to be a lot of fun. Also, since this is just season 1, episode 1, I'm sure it's going to be a little rough around the edges, and I'd imagine that even in season 1 alone, things are going to get a lot smoother and a lot more professional as I kind of work through how I want to shoot things, time things out, and of course edit once I get home. But enough about that, let's get that last sample for the day. So like I said, we are in Boise, Idaho right now, and we are actually watching the Boise State Broncos college football team play on the TV in our hotel room. However, the actual game is going on less than a mile away right down the street. We were going to try and get tickets, but we're both pretty tired and we decided we'd rather just hang out at the hotel room. But I've always kind of had fun watching Boise State's football team play. You know, they've got that blue field. So I figured our last sample today should be some audio off the TV from the Boise State football game to celebrate our first night on the road in a hotel on the trip. Let's do it. Another flag. There's been so many penalties this game. All right, flag comes in. That sums up, seriously, that is 15 or 16 flags between the two teams. All right, let's mute that. That's so crazy. We're not even to halftime yet. That might be 17 penalties, actually. Let's hear. All right, so we've got our 5 samples for the day. We've got our rocks. We've got the pipe. We've got the car door. We've got the seatbelt. And now we've got the football game. All right, I'm feeling that. That's perfect. What great timing by the commentator. Okay, so we've got our last sample from day 1, which is the football commentator saying, a flag comes in. So let's go ahead and see what we can do with this. I want to try and make an instrument out of this sound.
The flag comes in.
So here we are in an instrument track, and I have loaded our sample in.
The flag comes in. The flag comes in.
Let's just actually hit play and see how it sounds tempo-wise, just with the tempo we've chosen.
The flag comes in.
That's kind of cool.
The flag comes in.
Da 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 da.
The flag comes in. The flag comes in.
We might return to that rhythm in the future. However, I think I want to go in and actually play with the sample itself. So to do that, we're going to go into our position setting, and I'm going to turn on loop.
The flag comes in. The flag comes in.
And now we can actually fine-tune our looping points here and start to turn this into an actual synth.
Flag comes, flag comes, flag comes, flag, 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 flag,
Ooh, I kind of like that. Yeah, that's nice. Let's go ahead and click OK there. For envelope settings, I think we can give it a little release. Just a hair, though. I don't really know what to do for a melody here. About something like that. Let's go ahead and sequence that little melody here. Okay, so I've got the note length set to 8th notes, and I've got the phrase or clip length set to 80. That's just going to squeeze everything in a little better so we don't have this super, super long phrase where there's really no micro timings or anything like that, or any in-depth timings, so we don't really need it to be that long. So let's go ahead and record. 3, 4. Okay, so I know that sounds pretty harsh and honestly pretty bad in a lot of spots where stuff overlaps, but remember, this is very early on into the actual creation process of this song. I'm just kind of working out melodies that I like and rhythms that I like and working with sounds that we randomly found on our road trip. So it's not going to be pretty right off the bat, and that is a very important lesson for us all to remember when we're working on, well, really anything. And honestly, I'm pretty happy with where we are at right now. However, I'm starting to feel like we're going to have a section in halftime and a section at full tempo. So I'm going to go into this drum kit again here, and let's go ahead and hit play and make sure this little melody we've come up with works at both tempos. Okay, definitely works at halftime. I'm going to go turn off the click really quick in there. Now let's try it at full tempo now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that really works actually. Cool, that's got me pretty excited. Obviously, this is not going to be anything close to the drum kit we will actually use. In fact, of course, since we have our own samples, we will probably wind up dialing those in and making a much better drum kit out of those. However, let's really quickly try out the dubstep kit because it's got this nice super tight hi-hat. Let's go ahead and play. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm pretty happy with where this is going. Speaking of where this is going, let's send it back to where we currently are. So, with that last sample recorded, that brings us to the end of Season 1, Episode 1 of Sample Something. I do hope you have enjoyed this episode. I do hope you are excited for the season. You like the concept of the show. If you did like it, be sure to leave a thumbs up on the video. If not, you can leave a dislike. If you've got any sort of feedback at all, please leave it in a comment down below. If you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell. If you'd like to support the channel and future seasons of Sample Something, you can do so by purchasing any of my music on my Bandcamp page, which you will find linked in the description. Also in the description is a link to my Patreon page where you can get access to all sorts of awesome behind the scenes rewards, as well as all of the samples from this show and so much more. Thank you all so very much for checking out the very first episode of Sample Something. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time here at Freebeat. Bye everybody.